My name is Jessica. I'm 24 years old, and not too long ago I thought I was the luckiest woman in the world. I had everything most girls dream of: a loving fiancé, a bright future, and a family that seemed to support me. Or at least, I thought they did. My fiancé's name was Daniel. He wasn't just handsome. He was kind. The sort of man who opens doors, remembers the little details, and makes you feel like the only woman in the world. From the moment he proposed, I felt like my life had finally found its happy ending. But every fairy tale has a villain, and mine lived right inside my family. Her name was Lily, my cousin. We grew up like sisters. We shared secrets, clothes, even the same room at family gatherings. To the outside world, we were inseparable. People always said, "If you see Jessica, Lily won't be far behind." I believed she loved me. I believed she wanted me to be happy, but what I didn't realize was that Lily wanted my happiness for herself. The first time I noticed something strange, it was subtle. Daniel and I were at a family dinner, laughing over dessert, when I caught Lily watching us. She was smiling, but her eyes were cold, calculating. I brushed it off. Maybe I was paranoid. After all, Lily had always been supportive. She hugged me when I got engaged. She squealed when I showed her the ring. She promised to help me with every little detail of the wedding. But sometimes, in the quiet moments, I felt it. That tiny sting of jealousy she couldn't quite hide. One night, as we were planning my bridal shower, Lily leaned closer and whispered, "Are you sure Daniel is as perfect as he seems?" I laughed it off, asking what she meant. She shrugged and smiled sweetly. "Oh, nothing. It's just, no man is perfect, right?" Her words stayed with me like a splinter under the skin, and I had no idea that she was already sharpening the knife she would soon stab me with. At that point, my life looked perfect from the outside. Everyone envied me. But if I had listened more carefully, if I had trusted my instincts, maybe I would have seen what was coming. Because very soon, my perfect engagement would shatter, and Lily would be the one smiling as I fell apart. The first cracks in my perfect life were small, almost invisible. But like hairline fractures in glass, they were spreading fast, and I didn't even realize it. It started with Daniel acting a little distant. At first I thought he was just stressed with work. He'd cancel dinner plans, sometimes ignore my texts for hours. When I asked, he'd smile tiredly and say, "I'm just busy, Jess. Don't worry." But I did worry, because this wasn't the Daniel I knew. Then one evening, as he drove me home, he suddenly asked, "Jessica, are you sure you've never talked to anyone named Ethan?" I blinked in confusion. "Ethan? Who's Ethan?" Daniel's jaw tightened. "So you don't know him?" "Of course not," I said, laughing nervously. "Where is this coming from?" He didn't answer right away. Finally, he muttered, "Someone told me they saw you texting him." My heart sank. Texting? With someone I didn't even know? It sounded ridiculous. But Daniel's tone wasn't playful. He was serious. I assured him I had no idea what he was talking about. He eventually dropped it, but the way he looked at me that night, like he wasn't sure if he could trust me, it haunted me. The very next day, Lily showed up at my apartment with ice cream, claiming she wanted a girls' night. We were watching TV when she casually asked, "So, how are things with Daniel?" I sighed, telling her about the strange question he'd asked me. Lily frowned, pretending to be shocked. "That's weird. Maybe he heard something? You know how people gossip." She hesitated, then added softly, "Jess, don't get upset, but I did hear someone mention your name with a guy called Ethan. I didn't believe it, of course." My blood ran cold. "Lily." I stared at her, trying to read her face. She looked so sincere, so worried. She even grabbed my hand, whispering, "Don't let rumors get between you two. Promise me, Jess." I promised. But deep inside, something twisted. How could two people on separate days both bring up a man named Ethan, a man I didn't even know? It couldn't be a coincidence. The rumors didn't stop there. A week later, Daniel confronted me again, this time with more detail. I heard you were seen at a cafe with someone. Are you hiding something from me, Jessica? I felt like the ground was slipping beneath my feet. I swore to him it wasn't true. I begged him to believe me, but doubt had already taken root, and every time Daniel pulled away, every time he looked at me with suspicion in his eyes, Lily was there, always there. She'd hold me while I cried, whispering, "Men can be so insecure sometimes. Maybe he's not the one for you." Her words felt comforting at the time, but looking back now, they were poison. Every gentle hug, every sweet word, was another drop of venom sinking into my veins. Then, one night, I woke up to a message from an unknown number. It said, "You deserve better than Daniel. Meet me tomorrow at the cafe on 5th. Ethan." My hands trembled. I didn't reply. I deleted the message immediately, but the next day Daniel accused me of sneaking around. He showed me a screenshot, that very same message. But in his phone, it looked like I had replied, "Okay, I'll be there." I felt my stomach drop. Someone had faked it. Someone was trying to destroy me. And the way Daniel stared at me, cold, disappointed, almost disgusted, it broke something inside me. That night I cried in Lily's arms. She stroked my hair and whispered, "Maybe this is a sign, Jess. Maybe Daniel isn't meant for you. Don't worry. I'll always be here for you." And in that moment, I believed her. I thought Lily was my only ally. But the truth was, she was the one pulling the strings all along. The day it all came crashing down began like any other, a bright Saturday morning, the kind where the sunlight feels soft and the world seems gentle. I remember waking up with excitement because Daniel and I were supposed to go meet the wedding planner. I put on my favorite dress, the one he always said made me look beautiful. I even curled my hair. I wanted him to look at me the way he used to, with that spark in his eyes. But when I walked into the cafe where we were meeting, Daniel's face was different. Cold. Closed off. He didn't even stand up to greet me. He just sat there, his coffee untouched, staring at me like I was a stranger. "Daniel?" I whispered, sliding into the chair across from him. "What's wrong?" He pulled something out of his pocket, a stack of papers. He slid them across the table to me. Shaking, I picked them up. They were printed screenshots. Dozens of them. Conversations, text messages, photos, all of them showing me talking to someone named Ethan, flirting, meeting in secret, saying things I would never say. My hands trembled as I flipped through them, my vision blurring with tears. These aren't real. I didn't write this, Daniel." He leaned back, his jaw clenched, his eyes full of pain. "I defended you, Jessica. I told people you weren't that kind of person, but now I don't know what to believe." I tried to explain, my voice breaking, but he cut me off. "Enough! I can't marry someone I can't trust." The words hit me like a bullet. "I'm ending this," he said firmly, and just like that, my world shattered. I remember running out of the cafe, tears streaming down my face. I could barely breathe. My chest ached as if someone had ripped my heart out. How could this happen? How could Daniel believe such lies? When I got home, I collapsed on my bed, sobbing until I couldn't breathe. I didn't answer calls. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. The next evening, there was a knock on my door. When I opened it, Lily stood there, holding a bottle of wine and wearing that same concerned look she always wore. "Oh, Jess," she sighed, pulling me into her arms. "I heard about Daniel. I'm so sorry." I buried my face in her shoulder, crying harder. "He thinks I cheated on him, Lily. I don't even know who Ethan is." She stroked my hair gently, whispering, "Shh. Maybe it's for the best. If he doesn't trust you now, imagine what your marriage would have been like." Her words stung, but I was too broken to argue. She poured me a glass of wine, sat with me all night, listening to me cry. And yet, there was something strange in her eyes. A flicker. When I looked closely, I thought I saw it, the tiniest curve of a smile at the corner of her lips, So quick I almost doubted it was real. At the time I dismissed it. I thought it was my imagination. But now I know the truth. Lily wasn't comforting me. She was celebrating. The following days were a blur of whispers and pitying looks. My relatives called, offering condolences, but I could hear the gossip in their voices. Jessica cheated. Daniel left her. What a scandal. And through it all, Lily never left my side. She brought me food, stayed overnight, told me she loved me like a sister. I thought she was my savior, but really, she was the executioner, watching proudly as I burned. Because what I didn't know then was that while I was drowning in heartbreak, Lily was already moving closer to Daniel, the man who had once been mine. For weeks after Daniel ended things, I felt like a ghost. I stopped answering calls, stopped meeting friends, even stopped going to work for a while. Every day felt the same. Wake up, cry, go back to sleep. And through it all, Lily was always there. Too much there. At first I was grateful. She cooked for me, cleaned my apartment, even answered my phone when I didn't have the strength. She was the perfect cousin, the perfect friend. But slowly, I began to notice things. One afternoon, I woke up from a nap and heard her in the kitchen, laughing softly. I thought she was on the phone, but when I walked in, she quickly put her phone down and smiled at me like nothing had happened. I didn't think much of it until I glanced at her screen. For just a second, I saw a name. Daniel. My heart skipped a beat. "Who were you talking to?" I asked. She smiled casually, slipping her phone into her pocket. "Oh, just a friend. Don't worry about it." But something inside me twisted. Why was she smiling that way? Why hide it? That night, lying awake in bed, the memories came rushing back. The way she'd always been there when Daniel accused me. The way she was quick to mention Ethan before anyone else. The almost invisible smile when she comforted me after the breakup. A terrible thought hit me. Could Lily be behind all of this? I shook my head, refusing to believe it. She was my cousin, my best friend. She loved me, right? But once suspicion takes root, it grows. The very next day, I decided to test her. I told her I was finally feeling better and thinking of calling Daniel to talk things through. Her reaction was instant. Her smile faltered. Her voice wavered. "Oh, Jess, I don't think that's a good idea. He's moved on, you know? You'll just hurt yourself." Moved on. Those words echoed in my head like gunshots. How did she know? Daniel and I hadn't spoken since the breakup. The next weekend, I got my answer. I went to visit my aunt, Lily's mother. As we sat in the living room sipping tea, I overheard her talking on the phone in the kitchen. Her words made my blood run cold. Yes, Lily and Daniel make such a cute couple. I just hope people stop gossiping about how he was once engaged to Jessica. I froze. My cup nearly slipped from my hand. Lily and Daniel? No, it couldn't be. But the puzzle pieces were falling into place. The rumors, the fake texts, the screenshots, the way Daniel stopped trusting me overnight, the way Lily was always there, always ready to comfort me. It wasn't kindness. It was strategy. Lily hadn't just ruined my engagement. She had stolen it. When I left my aunt's house, I couldn't breathe. My heart raced with anger, betrayal, and disbelief. That night, I couldn't sleep. I scrolled through social media, desperate for answers. And then, I saw it. A photo, Daniel and Lily, together. It wasn't a romantic picture, just the two of them at a restaurant with some friends. But the way Lily leaned toward him, the way her hand brushed his, it was enough. Tears stung my eyes, but for the first time, they weren't tears of heartbreak. They were tears of rage. Because now, I knew the truth. Lily had destroyed me. Piece by piece, smile by smile. But she made one mistake. She thought I was broken forever. What she didn't know was that I had fire inside me. And from that moment on, I swore I would make her pay. Not by screaming, not by fighting, but by watching her world crumble the way she made mine. The game wasn't over, it was just beginning. The night I discovered the truth, I didn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, my mind spinning with rage and betrayal. For weeks, I had cried in Lily's arms, believing she was my savior, but all along she was the executioner holding the blade. And Daniel, the man who once swore he loved me, had chosen to believe her lies instead of me. I wanted to scream. I wanted to break things, to call them both and expose them immediately. But then I stopped myself. That's exactly what Lily would expect. She wanted me to explode. She wanted me to look desperate, bitter, unstable. No, if she thought she had won, I would let her think that. I would smile, I would stay silent, and I would play the game better than she ever imagined, because revenge isn't about anger, it's about patience. So I began to plan. The first step was gathering proof. I started paying attention. Whenever Lily visited me, I noticed how often she texted. Her phone was always buzzing, and she would always tilt the screen away from me. One afternoon, while she was in the shower at my place, I saw her phone light up on the couch. My hands trembled as I picked it up. A new message flashed across the screen. From Daniel. I couldn't unlock it, but the preview was enough. Can't wait to see you tonight. Don't be late. My chest tightened, but instead of breaking down, I smiled. Finally, evidence. I put her phone back before she came out, my expression perfectly calm. That night, when Lily left my apartment, I followed her, quietly, carefully, staying several steps behind. And sure enough, she met Daniel. I watched from across the street as they hugged, as they laughed, as he kissed her cheek. The sight nearly crushed me, but instead of crying, I pulled out my phone. Click, click, photo after photo. I finally had proof. But I didn't want to just show Daniel the pictures. No, that was too easy, too merciful. I wanted Lily to feel what I had felt: doubt, humiliation, betrayal. So I became an actress. The next time Lily came over, I pretended to still be broken. I let her hug me, feed me lies about how time heals all wounds. I nodded, smiled faintly, and told her I was slowly moving on, but inside I was already sharpening my knives. Step 2, build alliances. I started talking to relatives again, but carefully. I planted small seeds, little comments. Oh, Lily's been so busy lately, I barely see her. Oh, I think she mentioned Daniel the other day, but maybe I misheard. Small hints, nothing obvious, just enough to make them curious. Then I accidentally let my aunt see a blurry photo of Lily and Daniel together at a restaurant. Oh, it must just be a coincidence, I said sweetly, pretending not to notice her raised eyebrows. Rumors spread quickly in my family, and soon whispers began. Why is Lily spending so much time with Daniel? Isn't that strange? Exactly what I wanted. Step 3, bait the trap. I knew Lily loved drama. She thrived on attention, so I decided to give her the perfect opportunity to destroy herself. I invited her to a small family gathering at my apartment, just a casual dinner, nothing fancy. She agreed, of course. Why wouldn't she? What she didn't know was that I had already set up hidden cameras around the living room. That evening, as everyone chatted and laughed, I casually brought up Daniel. I told Lily, loud enough for others to hear, I miss him sometimes, but I guess he's happier now. Whoever he's with must be really special. Her face changed. Just for a split second, pride flashed in her eyes, and she couldn't resist. She smirked and said, Well, sometimes the best person for someone isn't who they were with first. The room fell silent. Everyone stared at her, and she realized too late that she had said too much. I smiled politely, pretending not to notice the tension, but inside my heart was racing, because I knew this was only the beginning. That night, after everyone left, I replayed the hidden camera footage, Lily's smirk, her words, the silence that followed. It was gold, the perfect weapon. And I wasn't done yet, because the final step of my plan would be to destroy her not privately, not quietly, but in the most public, humiliating way possible, the way she had destroyed me. Revenge tastes sweetest when served cold. And I had waited long enough. Weeks passed. The rumors I planted about Lily and Daniel grew stronger. I let them fester, spread, and swirl around the family like smoke. By the time I set my final plan into motion, everyone was already suspicious. But suspicion wasn't enough. I wanted proof. I wanted humiliation. I wanted Lily's mask ripped off in front of everyone she had fooled. And fate gave me the perfect opportunity. My aunt announced a family dinner, an elaborate celebration at her house. Everyone would be there, relatives, friends, even Daniel. When I heard his name, my heart clenched, but I forced myself to stay calm. This wasn't about him anymore. This was about Lily. The night of the dinner, I dressed carefully. Not in mourning black, not in pitiful sadness. No, I wore red. Bold, sharp, unignorable. The kind of color that says I am not the victim anymore. When I walked into the room, I felt the stares. Whispers followed me. Some people smiled with pity, others with curiosity, but I didn't flinch. Lily arrived shortly after, glowing with fake innocence, and right behind her, Daniel. My stomach twisted, but I kept my face perfectly calm. Throughout the evening, I watched her. The way she laughed too loudly at Daniel's jokes, the way her hand lingered on his arm, the way she looked at me, smug, victorious, as if to say, he's mine now. But she had no idea that tonight was her execution. After dinner, my aunt asked me to say a few words. "Jessica, dear, why don't you give a toast? You've been so quiet lately." I stood up, my glass trembling slightly, not from fear, but from the adrenaline coursing through me. "Thank you," I said softly. "I'd like to share something tonight, something very personal, because I've been silent for too long." The room hushed. Dozens of eyes turned to me. Lily's smile faltered. I continued, "As most of you know, Daniel and I were once engaged, but our engagement ended suddenly because of lies. Lies that made me look like a cheater, a liar, someone unworthy of love." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. I saw Daniel shift uncomfortably. Lily's hand tightened around her glass. I took a deep breath. At first, I thought I was losing my mind, but then I discovered the truth. The lies weren't random. They weren't rumors. They were planted, carefully, deliberately, by someone I trusted more than anyone else. I paused, letting the silence hang. People leaned forward, waiting, and then, slowly, I turned my gaze to Lily. "My cousin." Gasps echoed around the room. Lily's eyes widened, her face paling. "What are you talking about, Jessica?" she stammered, forcing a laugh. But I was ready. I pulled out my phone and tapped the screen. The TV on the wall flickered to life, connected to my device, and there it was, the footage from my hidden camera. Lily's face appeared on the screen, her smirk, her words. "Sometimes the best person for someone isn't who they were with first." The room went silent. Then whispers erupted. Gasps, shocked voices. Lily jumped to her feet. "This is out of context. You don't understand." I cut her off. "Oh, but we do understand, Lily. You spread lies about me. You faked messages, planted rumors, and destroyed my engagement, all so you could take what was mine." I swiped again, showing the blurry but undeniable photos of Lily and Daniel together, hugging, laughing, holding hands. Daniel's face went white. He turned to Lily, eyes wide with disbelief. "Is this true?" Lily stammered, reaching for him. "Daniel, no, it's not what it looks like." But he pulled away. The room buzzed with judgment, relatives whispering, friends shaking their heads, my aunt clutching her chest in shock. And I stood there, calm and steady, as Lily's world crumbled. "This whole time," I said coldly, "I thought I was broken. But the truth is, I was just waiting for the perfect moment to show everyone exactly who you are." Lily's eyes filled with tears, not the innocent kind, but the desperate kind. She looked around, but no one came to her defense. For the first time, she was alone. And I was free. The night of the reveal felt like a storm had passed. When I walked out of my aunt's house, the air felt lighter, fresher, as if the weight on my chest had finally been lifted. Behind me, I could still hear the chaos, raised voices, accusations, whispers, Lily's cries, Daniel's silence. But I didn't look back, not once. For the first time in months, I walked tall. In the days that followed, the fallout was brutal. Lily tried desperately to save herself. She called me, left messages, even came to my apartment once. But I didn't answer. I didn't need to, because the damage was already done. The family turned on her. My aunt, her own mother, was humiliated. Relatives who once adored Lily now treated her like a stranger. The girl who lived for attention suddenly had none. The girl who thrived on admiration now faced nothing but shame. And Daniel? He came to me a week later. I still remember the look on his face. Guilt, regret, maybe even love. "Jessica," he said softly, "I was wrong. I should have trusted you. I see that now. I'm so sorry." For a moment, the old me, the broken me, wanted to forgive him, to take him back, to pretend none of this had ever happened. But then I remembered the nights I cried myself to sleep, the way he looked at me when he thought I was lying, the way he believed Lily over me without a second thought. I smiled politely and told him the truth. "It's too late, Daniel. You chose to believe lies instead of me, and I don't need a man who doubts my worth." His eyes widened, but I turned and walked away, because my revenge wasn't about getting him back. It was about getting me back. Lily's downfall was slow and painful. Daniel cut her off completely. Friends avoided her. Her reputation, once sparkling, was in ruins. And every time I saw her name whispered with disdain, every time I heard the pitying tone people used when they spoke of her, I felt no guilt. She had destroyed me without hesitation, and I had simply returned the favor. But here's the thing about revenge. It doesn't always give you the happiness you think it will. After everything, I realized something important. I didn't need Daniel. I didn't need Lily. I didn't need anyone's approval. What I needed was myself. For too long, I let others define me, judge me, break me, manipulate me. But now, I was stronger, because revenge hadn't just destroyed Lily, it had rebuilt me.